Gendarme returns. What do you need?
Take a deep breath. You've done some reading these past few days, but you also know there's more to life than what you find in books. You've survived things these kids can't even imagine. They've got nothing on you. Now, chin up. You've got this.
Oh, you want to start now? Sure, we can manage that.
You've caught him off balance. The momentum is already in your favor.
Go ahead and take a seat. Since we haven't had time to prepare an exhaustive questionnaire, I think we can keep this interview more freeform. Why don't you tell us a bit about the books you're interested in, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. Aha, a real old-school pedestrian materialist. All right, we'll play along. So what sort of practical works are we talking about? So you're saying you've got to have a certain practical foundation before you move on to more abstract topics. Okay, I'm following.
This is a good start. They're starting to loosen up. You feel relaxed and in control. Soon, you're subjecting even the alphabet to a meticulous archaeologico-materialist critique.
That's true. I recall from one of psycholinguistics lectures that the letter A is derived from the Proto-Pericanassian glyph meant to represent a reed hut. Good God, have we really been talking about the alphabet for a quarter hour?
It appears so.
These kids are eating out of your hand, practically. Another quarter of an hour disappears. The questions come rapid fire, but you have an answer for every one. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. The interview must be reaching an inflection point.
Don't you think, though, that you can only really understand current events if you have a firm background in history and political theory? Okay, we'll bite. What sort of stories are we talking about?
A real-life procedural, complete with gory details. Give them sex and drugs. They're clearly not getting any on their own.
Oh, we're getting into the psychiatric pathologies of life under capital. Let's see where this goes.
Yes, I'm rather curious myself.
Now you're getting somewhere. These boys aren't even bothering to contain their interest. They want to see how you weave the threads of this story together.
I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to wake up with no concept of what money is.
If you encountered it in a novel, you'd say it sounded like a plot contrivance or like a fantasy.
Perhaps. But it's a fantasy that pays for things. Like your hostel bill.
No, it's just like Mazovrot. The freeman of the future will be he who awakens in perfect ignorance of capital.
Wait, Steban, are you saying the gendarme is some kind of future communist?
Another quarter of an hour disappears. The conversation bounces back and forth. Whatever their pretensions, it's clear these two have been craving something real. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. Time to wrap this tale up.
But that would imply that whenever you unpeel time, you leave behind some kind of doppelganger in now time.
Good God, have we really been talking about unpeeling time for a quarter hour?
I suppose we'll have to leave it there. But listen, gendarme. We could use someone with your breadth of expertise. With just a little more theoretical background, I think you'll be able to make some real contributions.
Yes, I would say he's got serious potential at least.
And with that, Welcome to the most ideologically advanced materialist reading group in Martinez. Here's your first assignment. It's an overview of inframaterialist theory. A little basic, as you'll see, but one has to start somewhere. Come back when you're done. We'll be here pretty much every night after 10 p.m. Do be sure to take your time with the reading. We'll be eager to hear your thoughts.
Apricot chewing gum scented one. August 2nd, early late summer. You're getting off the streetcar in Le Jardin, east of the river. Her father and mother are middle class. The nylon of her little jacket rustles next to you in the dark like autumn leaves. Her heels click on the pavement. You're walking up to the gate in front of her parents' house. She takes out her chewing gum and you kiss her. A feeling like electricity flows through your whole body. Immediately, you know that you've entered a completely different world.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural? Ooh, not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Yes, I keep hoping a shaft will collapse on me, but somehow it never happens. Does anyone in a city like this? It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all. Shoot, Piggy. It's what you do, isn't it?
It's getting late and it's snowing.
Good night, officer. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
The cover of this pocket-sized volume features a swirl of orange, yellow, and green. The title, A Brief Look at Inframaterialism, is set in an authoritative yet approachable serif font. On the inside jacket flap, you find a brief summary. What is inframaterialism? A highly theoretical branch of Mazovian communism? A collection of mystical ramblings by a discredited revolutionary? Or possibly both? This brief look, TM, introduces readers to one of this century's most fascinating and misunderstood theories in a concise, jargon-free manner. You turn to the table of contents. The guide itself is divided into several sections with seemingly esoteric titles like Effects of Plasm on Root Vegetables and Mental Projection and Transference. There's also a brief introduction about the life of Ingus Nielsen, known to his numerous admirers as the evangelist of the revolution, and to his even more numerous enemies as the apocalyptic Shrike. Ingus Nielsen remains one of the most controversial and fascinating figures to emerge in the years of the anti-centennial revolution, second only to Karamazov himself. During his unparalleled life, he helped guide a revolution in one country and found a new state in another. Along the way, he committed some of the most notorious war crimes in an era famed for its atrocities. And yet, his most fascinating contribution to history may be the most overlooked. His theory of ideological plasm, from which his followers and successors developed the school of communism known as inframaterialism. If you're like most people, you probably believe that your thoughts reside in your brain, right? That's not right at all. Thoughts don't exist in the brain. They float through the air. Your brain is but a fish swimming through them. Very interesting, and not so far removed from Ingus Nielsen's own theories. As Mazov's devoted comrade and leading theoretician, Nielsen was responsible for developing much of the intellectual foundation of communism. But his interests and speculations were famously wide-ranging. During his final years in exile, he produced, among other things, an early guide to home brewing, instructions for raising revolutionary children, plans for a universal pictographic language, and a detailed materialist critique of Dolores Day's chess strategy. But one subject he returned to time and time again was the fundamental relationship between thoughts and matter. We may yet discover, he wrote in his notebooks, that under certain exceptional circumstances, the proletariat's embrace of historical materialism may be so fervent that their beliefs take form in the world of matter as a kind of revolutionary plasm. Certainly, in essence, Nielsen is arguing that thoughts don't just reside inside the brain, they radiate outward from it. According to this idea, the brain is an ideological transponder, constantly emitting waves of highly politicized energy, which Nielsen called plasm. Woe is right. What's more, Nielsen speculated that this plasm, when it becomes powerful enough, might begin to influence the material reality surrounding it. Hence the name, inframaterialism. Unfortunately, Nielsen passed away before he was able to develop these initial ideas into a full-fledged theory. That work was left to subsequent generations of communist theorists. Building on Nielsen's basic insight, these theorists reached a startling conclusion. that a sufficiently revolutionary state might begin to exhibit certain extra-physical effects based on the amount of plasm generated by its citizens. In fact, many of inframaterialism's critics, both inside and outside the communist movement, have said the same thing. No, no, no. There's something here. You can feel it. Inframaterialists divide the extra-physical effects of the revolutionary state by the level of plasm required to achieve them. At the lowest, or first level, revolutionary plasm is believed to stimulate or invigorate matter without altering its essential properties. To take one example, during the revolutionary period, many communard farmers in Grad reported extraordinary yields of certain root vegetables, most notably turnips. The difference in these yields was simply too great to be accounted for by mere climate or soil conditions. The only reasonable explanation, inframaterialists argue, is the high level of revolutionary plasm emanating from the commune itself. Even today, in parts of the SRV, there are collective farms whose root vegetable yields exceed those thought possible by capitalist agronomists. It's also been postulated that plasm may account for the remarkably full and manly facial hair observed on many communist males. Of course, inframaterialists argue that revolutionary plasm may stimulate human physiology in other ways as well. Oh yeah, we're talking about white-hot communist sex, baby. That's correct. Reports from the revolutionary period claim that the most radically devoted communards were able to engage in vigorous intercourse for up to 8 hours at a time. 8 hours? There's no way. Your equipment would be mashed to jelly. No wonder the communards couldn't shoot straight. They were too shagged out. Sexual euphoria. Increased sensitivity to stimulation. If you didn't know better, you'd say this plasm stuff sounds a lot like being on amphetamines. And on that note, you feel like you've gotten the general idea of inframaterialism, enough to carry on a basic conversation at least. But if you'd like to go even deeper into some of the more speculative aspects of the theory, you could always read further. The book fits quite snugly into your palm. It would also fit comfortably into a jacket pocket. You flip forward a few pages until you come upon a chapter titled Mental Projection and Transference. When a community has achieved a sufficiently high degree of revolutionary fervor, inframaterialists believe that second-level effects may be observed. At this second level, certain hyper-revolutionary individuals may even develop the ability to extend their thoughts into material space and vice versa. According to inframaterialist theory, yes. Under suitably revolutionary conditions, that is. Of course, one doesn't need to be a communist to be attuned to the thoughts of your brothers and sisters. It's become something of a folk legend that during their final meeting, Nielsen and Mazov didn't speak a single word, preferring to sit in silence with their chamomile tea, reading one another's thoughts. One of the minor tragedies of the late revolutionary period is that few reliable accounts survive. Much of what we know of the communards' activities during this period come from memoirs and second-hand accounts. some only written down decades after the fact, and of dubious authenticity. Because plasm has never been directly observed, the exact mechanism behind these effects remains entirely speculative. Why are you getting hung up on mechanisms? Open your mind's aperture just a little wider. You're so close to true understanding. Most inframaterialists would argue that the inability of skeptics to detect plasm is simply evidence of their own insufficient revolutionary enthusiasm. This should be more than enough for a stimulating discussion. That said, if you're still yearning for more, you must. Everyone knows books save their best parts for the end. You breeze through the next several sections until you arrive at the final chapter, titled A Communism Above Reality. When a society's revolutionary fervor reaches the third and highest level, inframaterialist theoreticians have postulated that the laws of physics cease to be laws. More like suggestions, according to some of the SRV's leading inframaterialists. Of course, it's impossible to say what exactly happens under these conditions. No known society has ever achieved the levels of revolutionary enthusiasm the theory seems to require. Some inframaterialists have even argued that it might require more plasm than humanity alone may be capable of producing. In the SRV, there have been attempts to organize certain species of aquatic mammals, as well as a few of the higher corvids. But as of this writing, only human beings have demonstrated the intellectual capacity for revolutionary communism. There are numerous stories from Samara involving bandits or fascist mercenaries being levitated by farmers from the most ideologically advanced communes. Of course, few of these incidents have ever been rigorously investigated or substantiated. Among known attempts to channel third-level capabilities, the most well-documented is the curious case of Coalition warship Debutante. It concerns an interesting series of events that took place during the invasion of Revachol. As Coalition forces made landfall, a cadre of Nielsen's most fervent acolytes attempted to compress a Coalition aerostatic with their collective will. According to Communard law, these acolytes positioned themselves at the top of a redoubt just over the bay of Revachol. From that vantage, they proceeded to visualize pinching Coalition warship Debutante between their fingers, a gesture believed to assist in the extra-physical materialization of their thoughts. The Communards were notoriously under-equipped against the much better-funded Coalition. In any event, it's doubtful even ceramic armor would have altered the outcome. The acolytes, along with the redoubt, were vaporized in an artillery strike before the process could be completed. Picture the lot of them, all standing with their fingers in the air 1 minute, the next reduced to a bloody mist. It's been said, though, that in the weeks following the battle, the captain of the debutante noted an increase in the incidence of crewmen striking their heads on unexpectedly low bulkheads. Of course, colorful anecdotes only scratch the surface of what inframaterialists believe may be possible in a truly third-level society. Some have theorized that such a society would be fundamentally unrecognizable, lacking many of the institutions we typically take for granted in advanced societies, including organized governments, financial institutions, and law enforcement. Others have argued that people living under third-level conditions will be immune to such infirmities as hunger, disease, and mental illness. In some of his later writings, Nielsen himself speculated about the potential for an extra-physical architecture that disregards the laws of bourgeois physics and instead relies on the revolutionary faith of the people for structural integrity. Precisely, Nielsen observed that the financial system operates on the same principle of faith. So why not an architectural system? On the following page, you come across a few black and white reproductions from Nielsen's own notebooks. One sketch depicts a government ministry shaped like a great inverted pyramid, a hectare in width at the top, balanced atop foundations the size of common apartments. Another depicts a leaning tower wrapped in a dramatic helix. The caption beneath it reads, "The Tower of History." Something about that tower looks awfully familiar. Could it be that's what the students were trying to recreate with the matchboxes? In the corner of one of the reproduced notebook pages, you can make out the following words, written in Nielsen's distinctive slashing script. A state that has lost the faith of its people has forfeited the right to exist. There is no more. You've reached the outer theoretical limits of communism, and in less than 200 pages. If you'd like to read further, may we recommend a brief look at Occidental architecture
you're back. Yes, let's get right to it.
His companion leans forward, ready to jump in. They're impressed that you dove right into the most advanced parts of the theory. Half an hour evaporates and the conversation is still wending its way toward new and unexpected places. A cool breeze coming off the bay wraps itself around the Capeside apartments in a nearly forgotten part of that glorified construction site, surrounded by rusted pieces of scaffolding and walls of faded tarpaulin. A detective of the RCM debates the intricacies of an abstruse theory with a pair of university students.
But if it's true that this individual possesses so much capital that light literally bends around him, then that must mean... Or it suggests that capital, in sufficient quantities, must exhibit its own plasm-like qualities.
In Innocence of Capital, Puncher and Wortman argue that communists must possess as little capital as possible in order to keep their thinking undiluted by its influence.
Now the breeze has subsided. All is still except for the last bits of steam rising from the coffee pot.
Well, on that note, I think we can call it an evening.
Yes. One of our better discussions lately, on the whole.
What do you mean, is that it? You've done the reading, we talked about it. What more do you expect from a reading group? Well, you could always ask, I guess.
We probably won't get a better chance. Honestly.
But it's getting late, so maybe pick the most important question. Come on. We have things to do in the morning.
The question you mean to ask is both very complicated and incredibly simple. Take a deep breath. Best to go one piece at a time. The young man waits patiently for you to finish.
Yes?
The young man considers your words for a minute. You're witnessing his ironic armor melt before you. This is his true self you're seeing now. There's something going on in there, but his innermost sanctum is still beyond your reach.
The theorists Puncher and Watman, not inframaterialists, but theorists nonetheless, say that communism is a secular version of Pericanassian theology, that it replaces faith in the divine with faith in humanity's future. I have to say, I've never entirely understood what they mean, but I think maybe the answer is in there, somewhere. Only in this very specific sense. Communism doesn't dangle any promises of eternal bliss or reward. The only promise it offers is that the future can be better than the past, if we're willing to work and fight and die for it. Nobody said fulfilling the proletariat's historic role would be easy. It demands great faith with no promise of tangible reward. But that doesn't mean we can simply give up. Especially then.
And of course, we'll be shooting right back.
Why do you see the two of them with their backs against a bullet-pop wall all of a sudden? Their faces blurred, yet frozen as though in ambrotype. You were never that young, were you?
I guess you could say we believe it because it's impossible. It's our way of saying we refuse to accept that the world has to remain. Like this. Yes, that's a good way to think of it. A work in progress. A thought can be a very powerful thing. That's the whole idea of inframaterialism.
Esteban, it's getting pretty late.
You're right. We should clean this up and get going.
Of course, the matchboxes. You'd very nearly forgotten to ask about them. Now may be your last chance.
So you really did read all the way to the end. Yeah, Uli and I were trying to see whether there was enough plasm between the two of us to hold up a few matchboxes.
It was just a little informal experiment. No reason to take it too seriously.
The young man looks at you a moment, then at his companion.
What could it hurt? All right, let's give it another go.
Before long, a modest tower begins to rise from the pile of matchboxes. You place every box with the utmost delicacy and precision.
Easy, Uli.
It's holding. It's holding.
The higher the tower goes, the quieter the room seems to become. Aside from the occasional comment, the three of you are completely absorbed by the task.
All right, you go next, Esteban.
The young man pushes back his shirt sleeves, revealing the pale flesh of his forearms.
Is it? He's holding. He's holding.
Yes, this is the closest we've ever gotten.
It's almost exactly as Nielsen's sketch imagined, a physical manifestation of the dialectical spiral of history.
All right, gendarme. Your turn.
You've got this. Theories aside, they're only matchboxes.
It's...
Almost, so this one could be almost buggy always for you.
For a second there, I thought we had it. Just goes to show how constrained we are under the limits of the prevailing regime.
Undoubtedly.
Alternatively, it could be that our own ideological fervor is still insufficient.
Harder to believe, but still possible.
Either way, that's enough parlor games for one night. Thanks for humoring us.
We should probably clean up.
Yes, it's probably time for you to take your leave as well.
Wait a minute, if you don't mind. We wanted to get your opinion on something. A few little changes we've been thinking about. Nothing too major, I think. We were talking potentially about relaxing some parts of our admissions process.
I thought the cloak and dagger routine made us seem more appealing.
I thought so too, but perhaps we overdid it. just a little. There was another thing. We were also debating putting up some posters around town.
Though some of us maintain that advertising is an unacceptably bourgeois tactic.
That's what makes it so beautiful. The irony is unbeatable.
Oh, I like that. We're dismantling the structures of capital with our own tools.
It does sound pretty cool when you describe it like that.
Plus, I've got the perfect place in mind. Put some more coffee on, Uli. We've got a long night ahead of us. We should probably get Cindy in here too. Oh, and Gendarme. One last thing. About that question you asked earlier. It reminded me of a certain poem that you might appreciate.
Ah, so he has read something besides his books of abstruse theory.
It was written by a young communard who was killed on the barricades during the Coalition landings. The story goes that he wrote it on the last night of his life, keeping watch from the barricades in the middle of the night. I don't have the whole thing committed to memory, but there's a line in it I think about sometimes. In dark times, should the stars also go out? Anyway, good night to you.
It is the dead of night. Now is not the time for sitting, but for sleeping. It is time to find a bed.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards. Simmer down. Simmer down, bastards. Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards.
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000 years of yeast cultivation-based mating rituals.
Okay. Where's this going? Absurdly and pointedly phrased. You can be quite funny, officer. Anyway, what did you want?
She doesn't even understand you asked her out. Perhaps you're too sober to pull it off right now. Try again later.
Waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little bastards.
You think she really needs more of that after a man died at sea? What if I told you it is actually possible to go on a date sober? Before recorded history, men and women were able to do simple, very primitive things together sober. Acknowledge the situation and keep it basic.
I have, and I don't really.
You just want to go for a walk. What kind of a monster doesn't want to go for a walk? Walks are innocent.
Just a walk? I don't know, officer. I would not have taken you for an innocent perambulator. Where would this walk take us, officer?
Nothing creepy, strange, or out there. Keep it airy and simple.
All right, I will walk with you. But you need to understand that nothing is going to happen. We're just walking. Me too. It's been ages since I just had a normal conversation with one of you guys.
She means men.
Stroll on the beach sounds nice. All right, I guess I'll be seeing you at Land's End in the evening, when it gets dark, all right?
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. Was that acceptance? It feels so normal, nourishing even. These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. I know you do. These Inter-Isolari pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral intern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal, even if you didn't want to be. Makes sense. This is what wearing boring office trousers does to you. The woman gazes steadily at the waves. A sudden gust picks up her dark hair and lets it fall again, tousled, wild. She brushes a few stray locks from her eyes, and only then spots you approaching.
Aye, so here you are. It's late and the sun is going down. It'll be dark soon. If we stay here long enough, we will be joined by a cortege of drunks and teenagers. Know that you're not the first guy to bring a girl to Land's End. This is what the locals call a make-out spot. That is not going to happen here today. I just want to make that clear, Dimples. Drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments. Aye, you're the starriest of them all.
Her laughter is throaty and warm. It rhymes with the waves and the cries of the gulls. As she turns to face the sun reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay, you cannot help following her steady gaze. You should say something, anything, maybe the tequila sunset thing.
It's a common Ravisholian expression. Means drinking yourself to death. Oh, indeed. And what about you? Keeping the name? Can't wait to hear it.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected in the waves and the skyscrapers rising across the bay. Your mind clears for a moment as your senses take it all in. Not just the glass skyscrapers, fragile looking in the shimmering air. River Esperance flowing into the bay.
Isn't it strange for this all-powerful thing, the sun, to be so generous towards us? You know, the best time to go out fishing is usually towards sunset, when the water is warmer.
The sun also falls on the Capeside tenements and war-torn ruins. An old sea fortress juts out, seemingly impervious to the sheen cast over everything else, shaking you out of your reverie. The sun does little for the dead, and those hopelessly lost in their own minds, or people living in desert climates with sparse vegetation and little drinking water.
Oh, that was a bit of pride and a bit of superstition.
And a bit of conceptual unity too, it being yellow and all.
Now you're just nitpicking. But I concede. Maybe desert people sometimes disagree.
There's salt in the air, and the cries of the gulls and the skuas. Grit of the sand and the green glint of broken bottles. But still your gaze always returns to the dazzling streaks of light. Wherever they may be reflected, their fading opulence.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side, no matter what we do or who we are, for absolutely no reason. It's unlike no other powerful being, certainly no powerful organization or government. How can that be? Do they? Some of them do, but... Sounds to me like you should choose your allies better, that's all.
Maybe some general remarks before you say something big. Work your way up to the cool.
These aren't real fishhooks, silly. They're earrings shaped to look like fishhooks. A drunk called Rosemary brought them to me. I kept them.
She's right. They're made mostly of plastic. A cheap novelty gift you can buy from a flower shop or a kiosk. The wind ruffles her hair, silver-streaked in the moonlight.
Thank you. I'm half Ubi. My mother was from Ubi Sunt. Not a lot of sun there, I hear, though I've never been.
The wind ruffles her hair, silver-streaked in the moonlight.
I always do. I like it. It's like being on another planet, a water planet, with water worries and water joys.
The wind ruffles her hair, silver-streaked in the moonlight. Say what? Something interesting? Impossible. She turns her head, and the plastic fishhooks rattle in her ears. Nothing shearworthy takes place in your head.
Aye. Brains generally aren't very good, are they? The waves are beginning to die down. Look at those little...
Oh yes, she does. You need to get your drink on. There is no other way for human beings to procreate. Not after 6,000 years of yeast cultivation-based mating rituals.
Okay, absurd.
She doesn't even understand you asked her out.
The waves are beginning to die down.
You think she... What if I told you it is actually possible to go on it before?
I have.
You just want to go for a walk. What?
Just a walk? I don't know if... Where would this...
Nothing creepy.
All right. I will walk with you. Me too.
She means...
Stroll on the beach.
She doesn't wait for an answer. You better get ready. Was that acceptance? It feels so normal, nourishing even. The woman gazed
I so know that you're not
across the rusty water. That's
drinking men aren't known for keeping their appointments.
her laugh as she turned. You should say something. Anything.
It's a common Revitolian expression. Oh, and what about you? Keeping the name? Well then, Harry.
The remains of the dying sun are reflected.
Isn't it strange? For
The sun. The sun does or people living in desert climates with spark
Oh,
and a bit of
now you're just...
the salt.
It's bringing us spring, summer. It's entirely on our side. No matter what we do or who we are. I guess we wouldn't really be here if that thing wasn't on our team.
You would be incinerated or worse.
These?
She's right. The wind ruffles.
Thank you.
The wind ruffles her hair.
The
wind ruffles her hair, silver streaked in the moonlight. Here we go. Two different approaches to cap this off with style.
That it does. But then, we are also enemies to our enemies, hey? And so she shines on us. The cops and the commies, the killers and the saints. You know, the wind's gonna pick up soon, and I have to go, but... Have this. The sun's good, but it doesn't stick things. I've no use for it anymore. No. Men around here are too drunk to pose a threat to me. Doubt it. But thank you for the company.
This is as far as it goes with her. You'd need to put a year between you and your last drink for anything more.
Farewell.
As she walks off, the wind picks up, and the light from the sun seems to fade. The crumbling silhouette of failed electrical R&D towers in the distance, beckoning. Holding the gun feels natural and satisfying. It's like an extension of your arm, the polished wooden handle almost fusing into your palm. It reminds you of the day you first held it, with fear and respect, hoping you don't have to use it in vain. The sun was out in Jamrock. It was so long ago. Sheathe your sidearm, officer. A serious law official, cop by the book, should know to only unholster their service weapon when using it is unavoidable.
I see you haven't left our little Martinez yet. Still running around. Like some kind of cross-country law official. Aye. But don't let it grow too much. This is not the place to settle down. Now, what's on your mind, Officer Harry?
It's getting late. The bed is comforting, if the bed is comforting. The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
Hear that? He doesn't even flinch. Iceman doesn't care about killing people. That's nothing to him. Blackwater, under the bridge. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream. The worst of them all.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it, adorned with the expression. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection of your face in it. An old mirror hangs on the wall. You see the reflection. It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume Lamillion, out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. Only the grimace remains. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume Lamillion's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because, unlike Guillaume Lamillion, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression, looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. It's a different world now. The expression is a relic. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic memory, however, remains in the dark. It may never return. You should prepare yourself for that. Not really. OO must have just stirred your mind. They're more like a disco rock band anyway. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return. Is that the phasmid? It looks like the phasmid, leaning against the wall. Wait, what if this is the fishing rod situation all over again? Fine. It's not a phasmid. It's not even organic. Just a fire iron resting by the fireplace. But where's your sense of wonder, man?
Hello, mister. Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom? That's nice. My mom is great. She's never angry or anything. Bye!
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
All around you, rain keeps falling down. On the wooden boards she's standing on, and on the water around you.
Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water, almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel. Very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day. Of course, anything to help. Until the executions start. Truthfully,
They don't report their progress.
not on this matter.
5 days, not more. Maybe sooner.
It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with,
Officer, care to play a game with the lonely old man? Actually, never mind. Wouldn't be the same. The prick is gone. I can barely believe it. But he's really gone. Hell, most likely. He was an absolute Kent. His hungry little heart finally gave out. The dock workers found him in the guard booth this morning. Wasn't even supposed to be working for another week, but He just had to prove how tough he is.
Did he feel like he has to prove he can still pull his weight? Doesn't need handouts?
Guess he was about to head home, cause when the dock workers found him, he was wearing civilian clothes and not the Kuketu uniform I saw him in all the time. Sometimes I thought he was wearing it just to piss me off. Now the joke's on him, cause he's gonna be buried without it. No, René was the most stubborn man in Revachol. Nothing you or I could say would ever push him to do anything. The man was completely immovable. I repeat, an absolute cunt. Even his old army buddies didn't want him around. He was like an old viper. The only people who could stand to be around him were Jenny and me. She saw something in him when we were just kids and she never lost sight of it. And I thought if the most beautiful being in the world can love him, then there must be something worth holding on to. We've hated each other our entire lives. So much, in fact, that... Yes, I loved that angry prick. He didn't deserve it, but I did. You know what his last words to me were? In Guillaume's time, you'd have been shot without trial. That's what he said to me. He lived a cunt, and he died a cunt. Let's leave it at that. Let me see. This was 60 years ago. We all went to that parade. Young René looked so happy, and Jenny... I'm sorry, officer. I just... Thank you. Thank you for this little memorabilia. It really means the world to me.
That was nice. A small thing for us, but invaluable to him. He probably didn't even know René had the photo. Yes, we are both very sorry for your loss.
It is what it is. Part of life, really. But to know someone for 79 years, then one day they're just gone. I just don't know anymore. About anything, really. But you must need something. Yes? What about René?
Yes.
It is what I just don't know anymore.
again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. God, I've told her not to do that. It's such a disgusting habit. She'll get over it. Anxiety is a part of life. She can, if she has enough willpower. This is what's called growing pains. Life isn't easy. Life doesn't give breaks.
Come on, ma'am. It's obvious she can't do anything about it. You are placing an unnecessary burden on a young child.
She stands stiff and severe, silently fuming. 10 or so seconds pass without change. This is a person coming to terms with a new reality, one where they are wrong. It's not easy. She's looking for one, but there simply aren't any good arguments for being an asshole.
Oh no. Hold on. I need to invite her inside and apologize. She must be freezing out there. There. I don't know what to say to you. My husband, he tries to teach me business lessons. I have what my mother called a dull mind. All this stress. Yes, my husband is a successful entrepreneur east of the river. If only he were more involved in the business we're running up here. No matter. Soon we'll both be off for Grand Couronne. It's a proper place to live. One of the most peaceful neighbourhoods east of Jamrock. You may know it for its massive housing projects. Most of the buildings are empty at the moment. It's a great opportunity to get ahead of the crowds. Better times ahead for sure. He made the initial investment. Since then, he's been what you might call a silent partner.
Super silent, almost inaudibly so.
Yes, I'm afraid so. A real treat she is. It would be nice if she had... No, we couldn't have afforded more children, really. Not in this economy. We're quite busy people, you know, my husband and I. Quite busy. Children are a lot of work. You don't look like a father, so I don't expect you to understand. I'm sorry. I'm sure you do understand. She's been too busy helping me here, so she studied at home this trimester. This is a temporary solution, of course. I assure you, I of all people understand the importance of education. She will be back in school the moment the store takes off.
And hell freezes over? Never mind. It's not a good topic to get into. The woman looks aloof. Her features much soft.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my homework. I have so much homework now.
You just can't win. Out of the rain and into the gutter.
Math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Oh, I found something while you were away. I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does. Just what Dick Mullen would ask. I got it from behind the curtains. I'm not really supposed to go there. Yes, just like the one Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that. Right, I have to get back to my homework now, before Mum notices. Man, this is hard.
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here. Because this is no ordinary wall, it is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors. All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God. O Wall Father, huh? He sounds tired of it all. You already have the heavy fuel oil to use as paint. It's red. And Cindy the Skull has a paintbrush. This is on.
Sure. If you must.
Hello again, officers. What for? But boring. You're not using my lovely brush to spread boredom. What do you think I'm trying to paint here? A mural for a better tomorrow? Why do you really need it? Well, if it's for art. But what kind of art are we talking about? Let me stop you right there, Piggy. You have no idea, do you? No idea. No brush? Fuck off. There, Piggy. I guess art just isn't really you. 'Cause you suck in life and in everything. That's pretty fucked up. Even for you, Piggo. I think everyone would rather you didn't. You're a real sad sack. You know that? Go ahead then. Art it up. Just try not to hurt yourself and no self-portraits. Sure, anytime. Us shit artists have to help one another. Besides, I was out of fuel oil anyway.
She only gave it to you because she doesn't see you as competition. The right idea is not coming to her. It's excruciating. You know what you've got in that fuel canister you scavenged from your Kanema? Red-dyed heavy fuel oil, paint, and a brush. You're ready to do this. Tremble. The time is now. Taola. Time for the show. For Taola. The hallowed time of fear and disintegration. A countdown has begun. All will collapse on itself. The world will disappear into a single grain of blackness. All sound will be muted. All life will scream. Ulogu Theodos, Xeno Zausin, Ipoli Osithian, Echondes Fronisin. Monday morning, the moment you arrived in this reality, are the first crack in the sheer face of God. From you it will spread. Yes, you spoke the words of the Palindropos and the houses of Pericarnassus. Items, people, even words will tumble. All will lose its meaning in the coming years. That is why you marked yourself. So you should be. The world island crumbles at your feet, and in the far plain, Palindropos. Perhaps, just a thought, this has something to do with the hangover. The face of the woman fractures. There will be herd killing. We all become vapor. The paintbrush in your hand is like a loaded revolver. What will it be, Desperado? Quite a few things come to mind. You've spoken. The wall will now silently repeat the message for a decade or so, until the sea air degrades the paint, adding another layer of detritus to the city.
Very poetic. Real poetry. Should we return to our murder investigation? I hear there's a really bad one we are supposed to solve.
Kuno saw you wield that can. Sweet graffito action, pig. Kuno likes that delinquent shit. Kuno's part is, you're just shit at life. Now what's your case with Kuno? Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Excellent. That will be 10 real for one set of magnetic dice. This was an especially fun set to make.
Dazzling. It's like you have a pair of tiny disco balls in your hand.
was just thinking, what a nice day for questions pertaining to a murder investigation.
Soft, light brown eyes look back at you, directly into the space behind your eye sockets. You see the smoke rise from between her painted red lips. She's beautiful. I have bad news for you. You know these guys? Who? Me? Yes, you. He's talking about you, you boring stiff. You too. Me? What did I do? I'm merely a master thespian. These guys are compromised. She's got them singing along to her tune. The little bleeps and bloops you trust for info, you can't trust them anymore. I'm sorry I didn't catch it sooner. It takes conscious effort on your part. There's no way of knowing. At the moment, I'm afraid it's best to assume. All of them. Bullshit, man. I ain't compromised. Especially that guy. That guy's the most compromised one in here. No fucking way, man. I just want a drag of that sweet menthol Ziggy. Really? Quick, tell me what's under her jumpsuit. Glory, truth, softness. Protect her. She wants you. How it always does, through subtlety. There's nothing you can do about it. You are how you are, and she is how she is. Things will go as they do. No. It's better to know you're being played than to be played without knowing it, is it not? I think it's safe to assume, yes, Mr. Thespian here hasn't been speaking up. If he were, I suspect there would be paeans to her truthfulness. Like this, she is a lady, most fair and just. In his defense, to reduce him to such inadequacy, she probably had to employ half-truths more often than outright lies. That is correct. And omissions too. A little. They're all still of limited use, interpreting things to the best of their ability. Maybe they add flair or something. I wouldn't know. I don't add flair. But when it comes to assessments of character and factual accuracy, they are not to be trusted. Not with her. Don't be melodramatic. You can trust them. Just not with her. A light green speck and imperfection on the outer rim of her right iris. It sparkles. You can't draw a sound conclusion. The one who usually does says, she may want to control the information rollout, not to become a suspect. She may have a past she's escaping, unrelated to this case. You doubt it's something truly insidious. See? It's oddly moderate, probably compromised. You are not afraid. This is a mere girl. She was someone's child but a decade ago. Don't worry. It's only been 4 or 5 seconds. You've got this. The silence broken. She exhales a little cloud of smoke and says,
God, no.
You finally made it, haven't you? People point fingers at you and whisper to each other when you pass by, wondering to themselves, where did that man get such a cool jacket? Did he receive it upon graduating the École Normale Supérieure de Badasserie? Is he dangerous? Oh no, believe me, it will be everyone else who's uncomfortable with it. You're safe. No one dares say a word, unless they're, like, from your station and coming to judge you. But what are the chances of that happening?
I was just thinking, what a nice day for questions.
Who? What? Dear Lord, you've been lied to. She could have killed her lover and lied to everyone. She's not the most fair and just at all. She's smoke and mirrors and will-o'-wisps. She probably didn't give you her real name either. Why would she? Arrest her immediately, before she further entangles you in her web of lies. Take it easy. Don't overcompensate with this course correction. Ask questions first. Yes, start at the top. Choose at the bottom. It's how we've always done it. No rush. See?
What?
I did. What is this? I called your desk or whatever it is. The numbers are all over town. Call 8-100-2 for emergencies. There was an older woman on the other end. It sounded like she was smoking. She took my complaint. She coughed.
That is the emergencies desk number. Anyone could know that, sire, by looking around and calling the desk. I don't believe a single word she says.
What time did you make the call?
Thursday night. It was late, sometime after 12.
It checks out.
But I know the time of the call, too. I know I have not been 100% truthful with you, officers. But I am now.
Why is she so angry, then, if she's so sorry?
I did.
Very good, sire. She will never admit to it, but we can see that she didn't.
I agree. You wouldn't give us your real name, not when people are after you.
Okay.
Tighten it. You've got her.
Okay, it's not. You log your work every week. It's all transmitted to Common, sir. I couldn't just beg you not to enter my name. So I lied. Like I lied before. Like I did at LCSB. I have to lie all the time. I'm so tired of it. It's Katarzyna Lazie.
She nods. Her round eyes meet yours. They seem moist from the wind on the roof. She nods, her back straight, ready for whatever is next. Ready for the damage. She knows you're grilling her.
There may be grounds here, at least for an extended detention.
A little whimper. The young woman hears you. She's looking around.
But I haven't done anything. Anything illegal.
Failure to aid a police investigation. She purposefully misrepresented information crucial to the case. Fucking mind games. Enough. That's right, gang. Stern and merciless now. Stern and merciless as we reel her in. The lieutenant produces a pair of handcuffs.
Please no.
But there's nowhere to go. A 2-story drop to the Plaza Mosaic. If she could, she would have run before. Fragile, unshielded. Her voice is thin and tired.
I think I know who did it. Who shot Lely. I can tell you. I can help you.
She's silent for a second, as if looking into herself for certainty. Then, in a hushed voice, she says, gearing up for this betrayal is hard for her.
Ruby. She has this thing for me. Ever since I met her and the boys downstairs. She's been pretty frank about what she wants.
What she's saying is... sex?
And more. I made the mistake of confiding in her. I told her I was on the run. She started protecting me. It became an unhealthy relationship. When I started spending time with Lely, she told me to end it. Said there would be shit if I didn't. It was not a good meeting. We stopped talking after that, but...
I don't understand. What exactly in your relationship made you think she's romantically interested in you?
She said she's in love with me. She even asked me to run away with her when I told her I'm a fugitive. She started developing notions about our relationship.
And you led her on?
A little. I was flattered, you know? But then I had to let her off, and it was not easy. I came to regret being friendly with her. We maybe kissed, nothing more.
Yes, but what was their relationship outside this unequal power dynamic?
We spent a lot of time together, listening to the radio and such. She had great milieus, and she was good company. I was sorry it had to end.
What was that question about? She's feeding her friend to the wolves here. It also has startlingly little to do with arresting her, you suddenly realize.
This is just an assumption.
I know what it sounds like. That's why I didn't want to tell you before. But she knew what had happened when I came downstairs. Somehow, she knew Lely was dead. She wasn't surprised at all. When we came up here, she was calm as a stone, too. She cleaned it all up like she had a plan.
Could it be that Ruby was cleaning up after herself? That the lynching was a cover-up for her? and she organized the boys to do it. It's ominous. You buying into her theory and running with it. Be careful with this logic guy.
She came over one night, drunk, said she'd turn my life into a living hell. I've been threatened before, so I can tell when someone knows how to do it. And she's a pro. She must be. To keep the Hardys in line. I tried severing ties with her after that. I thought it had worked, but...
Some of that fear is still with her. She exhales sharply. What are you talking about? She's afraid you'll arrest her.
She could have had access to the roof. You've noticed that door there, right? Maybe it leads downstairs. She could have come to the roof through that, then taken the shot right here, where I stand. It was dark outside. I wouldn't have seen her.
Then slipped back downstairs without anyone noticing. That is possible.
Interesting theory. Did she know that door exists? Had you been out there with her?
Yes, of course. She's been up here many times, jacking private stations off the ring antenna. She used to come here to drink on the roof with me, before it got weird.
Okay, and what? Arrest the liar now. Why? She told us some pretty interesting things there. Don't arrest her. Push her a bit more, but then let her off. That Ruby theory was solid. And she's beautiful. She's stuck here. She's already in prison. Look around. She's only trying to help you. Her. Stop letting her distract you.
Still? After all this, sir, please. It's a shitty world, and I know I'm shitty too. I know. But I don't deserve to be sent to the moral intern and ground into paste just because I disturbed the sanctity of accounting. That's some multinational...
She's gearing up for a last stand. This is it.
You have those station calls, right? Where I have to show up at the station or I'll become a fugitive. You can write me one. You don't have to take me in right now. I promise I won't go out anymore at night. I'll be right here. I know you can do that. Just let me come in on my own. In 2 months, or maybe even 1 month. That's all I need.
You do have the form.
That's it. I'm calling it. Kim is beyond compromised. Definitely, sire.
Everything could change. This city, the extradition rules, the people after me could be in jail. Or maybe Ravishol.
There is desperation there, in that silence. A cornered animal looking for a way out.
Maybe Ravishol could be free. I could be tried in a free Ravishol. An independent state that doesn't hand its detainees over to the moral intern.
A free Revachol. There is a low, distant rumble on the motor tracks. A great machine shaking the pillars down south. Electricity runs up your spine.
I find that hard to believe, miss.
It's coming.
The world can change. It's changed before.
Her political overture has succeeded, we see. This was her last card. There is nothing more she can say. The final decision is yours. You alone stand on the throne of your mind. She looks at you in silence, her face filled with fear, lips parted. Wait. If you arrest her, Kim will have to transport her. You'd be without your partner for the rest of the day. Shut up. He's making a decision, and it's his to make.
I won't.
This may have been a grave mistake, sire. Maybe, maybe not. Mercy is rarely a complete mistake.
I promised I will be right here all the time, nights too. I'll help you any way I can in this investigation, and I will be at Station 41 in 6 weeks. I promise.
She slowly lights another cigarette and steadies her breath, as if in the presence of some tiger. You are. This is not the end of this.
Hello, officer. What brings you up here again?
A warm column of air rises around you, encircling the building you stand on. You feel its twisting shape, bits of paper and birds on the thermal, along with several million liters of water, all rising up into the great Insulindian sky. Because it's warm, from the gathering spring, from the oceanic current flowing into the bay, the people on the streets, the machines that hum in the harbor, heavy fuel oils too. From the vapor, a great cumulus is formed, a cloud castle 1,000 meters high. A flock of seagulls screams, hitchhiking on the thermal. They too are part of the procession, the honor watch. For her, the guest, waiting, as safe as you keep her. For Gloria, soon these clouds will all fall down as rain. Spring will come. 2 more months, maybe less. It's time.
You mean here in Martinez? I'm waiting for the miracle to happen. It'll take one to get me out of the mess I'm in.
And what would that miracle be?
The return, of course. Now, I know I'm not from around here. I would only be hitchhiking. The return is a big hit in the industrial espionage circles. A lot of desperate, seedy types there. All screwed in this unipolar world. Don't you know, sir? I thought you were from around here. You look like Mr. Revachol. The return, well, it's part urban myth, part political science. It's a fool's hope, sir, and it's also all I've got. They say there will be an event, that it will happen somewhere here, in Revachol West. They say it will happen soon, and that it will change everything.
Le retour.
As I said, there's talk. In the competitive intelligence crowd, a lot of people, like me, who need a new color on the map. No, I came all this way on a false passport and some money. To hide, mostly. In the most volatile part of the Real Belt, where it's easiest to disappear. Where the walls are still porous and you can slip through. This is just something to get me through the night, you know? A little espérance.
Still, the story influenced their choice of where to run. It must have some hidden layers.
Soon. But it's been soon for almost half a century now, so don't hold your breath. No need to worry, Lieutenant. I'm sure the streets will not erupt in seditious violence just yet.
These streets? I'm not so sure, miss.
Of the king, of the nation, of communism, return on investment. I don't know exactly. It's meant to be vague, as promises generally are. But at the same time, I mean, things can't go on like this forever. Something will give. It always does. Yeah, I guess it is.
So she thinks, at least partly, that this return will feature a self-governing Revachol. She has already placed her bets.
I do.
I agree, Detective. Something is coming. Trouble. It will be a hard spring. I don't know what exactly, but...
Something is happening in this city. I can feel it when I'm out here at night.
Her thought trails off. The wind picks up again. Above her, a great cumulus cloud rises, ready to fall down as precipitation. April will come, then May. A month, maybe 2 from now. You shudder. The feeling dissipates. The thought ends.
Again? I can't believe this shit.
The man doesn't reply, trying to get a good picture of your jacket, no doubt. Can he even see through those glasses?